Hi everyone, welcome to the first ever Grad Malaysia Digital Roundtable. And it's a bit strange, isn't it? We're all stuck at home, can't do much. And our topic today should help us find some answers. So we have two very special guests with us. Let me introduce, first of all, Bonnie from BDO. Hi Bonnie, can we wave to the students?
Hello, everybody.
Welcome, Bonnie.
Good afternoon.
Bonnie is the head of people and support at BDO, and Bonnie is a very busy woman. So for her to be here with us today, I think it's a very special occasion. And be prepared for many questions, Bonnie.
No problem.
All right. Up next, we have our second special guest, Mr. Noel Anthony from RHB. Noel is the VP Target Sourcing and Acquisition, Attract and Join from RHB. Noel, can we have a wave to the students?
Hello, everybody. Nice to meet you virtually.
All right, great. So before we begin, I would just like to see participants. Do we have anyone from INTI? Can you raise your hands if you're from INTI? Yes, we have 1, 2, 3. All right. Do we have anyone from UTM Johor? UTM Johor, anyone? Yes, we have. Oh, quite a few of them. All right. Anyone from Segi? Anyone from Segi University? Can I see your hands? Can I see your hands? All right. We have some students from Segi. Anyone from the East Coast from UMT? University Malaysia Terengganu. Do we have anyone from UMT? No? All right. How about UKM? Anyone from UKM? All right. I guess the students are still getting into the chat room. But so let's begin. Let's begin on what we have to do here today. For all the participants, for all the students, keep your mic and keep your webcam off, okay? We have a Q&A, but that's right at the end. So if you have any questions, use the chat function. It's at the bottom of your screen. If you're joining us on FB Live, you can just chat your questions and we will get back to them, okay? Now, Bonnie, Noel, it's a very interesting time we live in. I was talking to my 91-year-old grandpa, and he has never experienced anything like it. He has gone through world wars. He has gone through the occupation. He has gone through, you know, the curfew and all that. But this is something new to him. So can maybe Bonnie, can you share something interesting that has happened to you during this lockdown?
Wow, I think this lockdown has basically tested my ability to multitask. You know, they say women can multitask quite well, but this is a whole new different platform altogether.
Yep.
So as a working mom, and I'm working from home every day, there's no day, no weekday, no weekend, because every day seems to be the same.
Yep.
Now with school lockdown as well, children are learning online. So I wear many different hats. That's the mother hat, the tuition teacher hat, the cook hat, the cleaner hat, because cleaners are also not allowed. I live in an apartment. So at this juncture, cleaners are not allowed to come in. So yeah, my day has just extended from a 24-hour to become like, I don't know, double or even triple.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's how it goes. And I guess what it really taught me is that planning and scheduling and setting timetables are quite important, because you can lose track of time when you're in the midst of doing so many things. And at the same time, people are calling you in between. So I'm still adjusting to this new norm and working from home. But I guess I am improving. That's a plus point.
Yep. Yep. Thanks, Bonnie. We will actually be talking more about planning for the students later on, right? So they can plan on how to move forward. Noel, do you have any interesting stories that has happened to you and your team during the lockdown?
I think personally, with the banks, right, we don't work every day from home. So I do alternate days. So like myself today, I'm actually from the office. I'm not from home. And having spent more time at home, I think when you have young kids at home, right, they think when you're at home means you're at home. So they don't understand the meaning of working. So I tell them I'm actually working, and you know, they want your attention and whatnot. And the interesting thing that you think that when you work from home, you have more hours to yourself. Actually, no. Like I don't envy Bonnie. I think being a mom, you cannot run away from responsibilities from kids. Like husbands, you can say, okay, the mother is there and whatnot and all. So I know it's even worse for Bonnie. But for myself, interestingly enough, I had 3 birthdays in my family, and what I did was I learned a lot of cooking lessons through YouTube, and I cooked my wife's favorite meal and my daughter's favorite meal. And I think it kind of let you do other things that you wouldn't naturally do. So that's the flip side and the upside to this lockdown. And on a whole, in terms of productivity, I would say that because my day job or what I mainly do is interviews, and I can book on more interviews because right now candidates don't have to apply for jobs, apply for leaves to come for interviews. You can just say, okay, I'll be on a call in the next 2 hours. So you do more interviews. So it ends up being more productive. So that's the upside as well. Yeah.
So both of you can chime in here. So are you saying that it's actually easier for you to conduct interviews right now?
Well, on our end, I think a virtual interview equates to any face-to-face interview nowadays. You know, you don't have to meet a person personally in person to do an interview. And really, we are now interacting already as it is, right? And what more, you're interacting in a larger group. With Zoom, you can have easily 20 faces on the screen and everyone.
Yeah, I would agree with that, because like,
it doesn't mean that interview has to face to face.
Yeah.
Yes, Noel.
Yeah, I would agree with that. In fact, like prior to this, being a bank and whatnot, we wanted everything needs to be in person. We check body language and whatnot and so on and so forth. But I think this new norm has forced us to still be productive. We can't say no interviews. We can't say we're just going to stop everything. That's just not possible. Mm-hmm. So the only minor issue that I would say that at times, right, you don't know whether the candidate doesn't know his stuff or is probably buffering. So that's the technical things that you probably have to do away with. Yeah. So other than that, I think virtual interviews is as good as interviewing in person. It's fine.
Right. So
I suppose a good tip would be that making sure you have strong internet connection.
Mm-hmm.
So
correct.
Because how you appear on screen is really where you are presenting yourself now.
That's right.
Right. Right. So let's go a bit deeper into internships. So let's start with you, Bonnie. How has this changed internships in your organization?
Well, tremendously for our organization. Being an accounting firm, we do bring in a lot of interns throughout the year. But during this 2 months of lockdown, where we can't go to our client's place, we cannot be in office, it's quite challenging to have interns to be working from home, because the modus operandi for audit reviews would be that you go to a client's place and you review the client's documents. So we have certain clients who are quite advanced technologically, where we can then do online audits with them. But then there are also the smaller, medium-sized ones, which are quite restricted from a technological front. So a lot of these smaller audits have been put on hold for the last 2 months. I think with this conditional MCO now, it has enabled us to slowly go back out again to visit our clients, but on a very restricted, keeping social distancing as well. So it has been quite challenging. I think a lot of the interns, those who were with us during this lockdown, some of them had managed to do a bit of work, but I would say they were not as productive as if they were without the lockdown. And now going forward, we are looking at how do we work with our clients in the new normal? And that would mean, do we still continue to have a lot of the interns? It may be a challenge. We may be really looking at assessing what the resources are now and what are the expectations and the way we can do work with our clients. So I would say for us, internships, we have actually reduced quite a bit during this couple of months.
Okay, how about you, Noel? How is it like in the banking industry?
So as far as internship per se, we've not reevaluated our hiring plans, and on whatever hiring plans that were decided at the start of the year, we are going to maintain that. The only effect, like what Bonnie has shared, is that while we can do the interview, we can do our selection, we on-go select and review interns. The only concern is that while, like Bonnie, she has interns have to go to the client space, ours, a lot of the banking data, you're not allowed to bring it out from the company. So with service, we kind of stuck in the same predicament. So a lot of our interns, we kind of waitlisted, but I think like after the 12th, we may bring them in and go on a rotation basis. So like the staff here as well, we go on a rotation basis in terms of maintaining X amount of staff in the office and X amount of staff in the working from home. As far as interns, I think like even though like this is a crisis, and in Chinese, the word crisis can also be seen as an opportunity as well. So I think like what I've seen is that because like some departments or some areas where they want to take a more reserved stance, they may want to change their hiring plans or whatnot. So a lot of junior roles, right? They now come and say, hey, Noel, on my team, do you have interns or do you have interns? So there is definitely an area of opportunity as well. So those are the plus and the minus. As far as starting, we are still trying to decide how do they come in here. And unfortunately, we do not have laptops to give to all interns. So there's another concern as well, from a technology aspect as well as the cost and infra aspect.
Right. So that's a very interesting term that you mentioned, wait listing or being on the wait list, right? Yes, we have never used this before. Before we continue,
it's like running a restaurant, isn't it?
Yeah, you have to get a number or something like that, right? So before we continue,
but actually, just to add a bit, Jai, before that as well, we move on. I think with this interns, from the audit firm perspective, I would say there's a lot of bottleneck in terms of work to be done. Yeah, we had 2 months of practically very, very low productivity, and now that the conditional MCO is up and people can start to go out to do work, definitely a lot of backlog to clear. And that would mean that, in fact, our audit teams are really ramping up the operations already, catching deadlines, because we had deadlines only for the December year ends. And now those with the March year ends and the June year ends, there are no extensions. So we're really catching up, and which means that could actually pose opportunities for interns because there may be this short-term spike in resource needs. Yeah, and it could happen probably during the next couple of months, maybe all the way towards the 3rd quarter or something like that. So it's not all bleak to the interns. I think you should still continue to open up your opportunities, go and search for the firms because there is opportunities there. You have to hunt for them. Don't think that this is it, as interns, we better just stay put and count our blessings or something.
Right. Yeah. So before we continue, any students, if you have any questions at all, please use the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. On Facebook Live, you can just use the chat function. Send us any questions that you have. Can I have hands? I like to see hands being raised. So can you raise your hands if you understand how to use the Q&A? Do you know how to use the Q&A? Great. Do you know how to ask questions on Facebook Live, on Facebook? Okay, great. So let's move on. I think we have covered internships, we have covered interviews, and the CMCO, it seems like, we have until the 9th of June and it may be extended again, right? How has this affected those who are looking for full-time jobs? Not just students and internships, but apart from the technological and issues and when it comes to resources as well, how has this affected full-time job seekers who were looking for a job before the lockdown, and now we are approaching the end of the lockdown? So how has this changed for them?
Well, I think from my perspective, definitely now is the time where we do hear a lot of our clients are tightening their belts. Yeah, the MCO has really caused very huge drop in domestic demand. And at the same time, that has translated to a slowdown in general economy, and supply chains, world trade, everything is very much slowed down. And so the big question is, how long is this going to take to turn around? And that is a crystal ball that nobody has an answer to at this juncture. We all hope that the recovery will come faster than as expected. But at this moment, I think a lot of companies are looking at, let's wait and see how it goes. Definitely, I think from the hiring perspective, that would translate into lesser opportunities out there for now. Whether that means it's going to be a permanent situation or not, I doubt it, but it will take time to pick up. So I suppose job seekers will probably find that you need to wait a longer time to get hired, and you probably need to think about being a bit different in how you approach your job seeking. Be that different. Don't go with the usual norm where you submit your CVs. I hear nowadays people submit video CVs. Like right now, instead of giving you a hard copy CV, they do a really great video of themselves. And
resume.
Yes, and that's great. I think it's good time to invest the time to start thinking of how you can be different and differentiate yourself during this period, because it's going to get tough to get hired.
Any input, Noel?
I think prior to all this MCO or the pandemic situation that's happening in Malaysia, the graduates were already having concerns in terms of issues like underemployment or the number of graduates coming out and the right opportunities. What I foresee for now is that there's also certain parts of the industries are closing, and the job market is going to be more stiffer. More people who probably have lost their jobs are competing for the same jobs. My take is that sometimes you may think if you studied a particular course and you want to join that particular department, you need to be more flexible. Yeah. So be adaptable, be more flexible. Like me personally, when I came out, I was all fixed in terms of joining HR. I did a HR degree. I wanted to join HR. To keep you not, after 4 or 5 months of trying, I said, okay, heck it, I joined a data processing site for a large bank. And essentially what I was doing when I was shocked is I was doing jobs that people didn't want to do in UK. So it's like clerical level jobs, but obviously here as an executive. The change I did was that I knew at the bottom of my heart that I wanted to be in HR. So when an internal job opportunity came within the company, I got into HR, I did recruitment, and I spent about 17 years doing recruitment. So what I want to share with you is that be flexible, be adaptable. And to echo what Bonnie has said, very importantly, don't try the usual ways. Sometimes I ask a graduate, what you've done? Oh, I've applied 100 jobs in JobStreet. Okay. I've applied 100 jobs in this portal. I said, have you made any connection? Have you, so the thing is, network, make connections. For those of you, the 17 of you who are joining this call today, I really applaud you for taking time to join us, because these are the things that people in the industry. And when you happen to meet either Bonnie or myself, you can say a reference to this conversation. That tells us that you are really making an effort. So be different. And I'm not going to say there's going to be doomsday or whatnot, but what I can say is that you must always feel that you have something to offer and be adaptable.
Good. Yeah. So we mentioned a bit about, how we all need to be very adaptable right now. We have to follow the changes, and we can't just say, I want to do just this one thing. Can we go a bit deeper into the skills that we need apart from learning how to use Zoom and Skype and Hangouts and Teams, and there's so many con call apps out there. What other skills or what other soft skills are really important right now? Can we go back to Bonnie?
Yeah, thanks. Well, I think this MCO has really taught everyone. One very common thing is that we all can be digital from the age of 4 years old, which is my daughter's age. She's learning online now, and she's getting really good at, you know, sort of logging on which are the channels, how to draw her pictures on the screen and how to answer the questions on the screen. And then there is my auntie, who is 75 years old, and she's sending all these updates on MC and of COVID-19 daily to us, and, you know, all the videos. So I think we've all gone absolutely digital because of the lack of human contact. And I think digitalization is definitely an area that you really need to invest your skills in. Find out what are the new things out there that you can do with technology. Find out what technology is really required now in companies, in the corporations that you're interested in. A lot of times, some of these companies, they really do not know what is available there that can actually help them do things faster, better, quicker. And that's where I think you can come in to add value. And, you know, as Noel said, how do you create connections and network? It's by researching on these companies, knowing where do you see gaps are. And I think technology is an area where there are definitely gaps. And you can come in and it will give you a flavor as to where are the areas that you should invest your time in learning. I think areas like cybersecurity is definitely an area now, because everything is being transferred online. There is this huge worry of security in the net. So there's a lot of areas that I think it's out there that people have not thought about in the past, which now we very quickly will have to go into. So I would say digital quotient would be the thing that I think you need to look into, and that would give you an added upskill to against everyone else.
How about you, Noel? Any skills that students need?
Sorry?
No, any skills that come to mind when it comes to students wanting to, you know, if they want to broaden their options, for example?
Right, I think much of it has already been echoed by Bonnie, but I just want to add on in terms of, right, even prior to the pandemic, there's a lot of push in terms of the digitalization, how do you digitalize work, thinking of new ways of working. I think this whole pandemic, not just for Malaysia, even the whole world, right, it's kind of quickening up the pace. Like even prior to this, right, even for bankers to say, hey, go and work from home, we were like, cannot be done, cannot be done. But because of this, right, we knew we needed to still be productive. We knew we needed to serve. It has pushed us. So in terms of the skills that are required, right, if you were to break it down, I think like skills that you can pick up is like your coding, your analytic skills. And I would definitely say that there's definitely areas in terms of cyber risk, like a lot of activities across industries are going online, right? So this now it become a critical factor in terms of how we operate in this new norm. So if you are a fresh graduate still thinking about or not want to do another course during the break where you cannot find employment, right? Invest in those areas, pick up a skill. And I kid you not, I think that will be really in demand because the way things are going, right? And until when a vaccine is found, right? This is going to be a new norm in how we operate in, and digital is the way forward. Yeah, that's what I can share.
Okay. Yeah, we were supposed to keep the Q&A to the end, but we have a very relevant question to the topic right now. So I'll bring it up. We have a student who's asking, what kind of courses or qualifications they can take right now. Okay, let's say they are in a very specific course, for example, oil and gas or chemical engineering. Okay, what kind of skills or what kind of certifications they can actually do right now to kind of broaden their options?
Well, I think in terms of digital skill sets, there are a lot of all these short courses where you can learn on coding, you can learn on how do you set up a website, for instance. You know, I think small things like this, don't go overboard and take a computer science degree, you know, that's going to take you another 3 years.
Uh-huh.
But I think there are bite-size learning that many people can hop on. And it means, how do you make a video in a short period of time? Or how do you make an animated thing? And all these things are actually very useful now, because I mean, even for us in video, we are looking at digital marketing now because we can't meet our clients. Our traditional way of having seminars and meeting clients in a seminar environment and connecting is gone. And I think it's this kind of seminars are going to be forbidden for the next, well, year, maybe two, if not, yeah, until the vaccine has been discovered. So there are a lot of different ways now that people are thinking, how do I reach out to clients? How do I reach out to market my services, my products differently? And so bite-sized digital learning is where you can look out, you know, simple things like websites, videos, you know, doing an interesting virtual seminar, like now, how to make it even more exciting. These are the ones that people are looking out for, and they are quite easy to attain. I think, you know, a couple of weeks, you get a certain certification and you'll be able to play around with.
Yeah, and a lot of this, if you Google, right, some of them are at a minimum cost, or even some they want to try it. You can try it out for free and whatnot, you know. So if you have that intent and purpose, go and Google these courses and whatnot. And further from that, right, what I can also suggest is that sometimes you're already in a degree that's probably not in demand, but then again, look at the internship option. And I'm just going to share with you a very real scenario. My last intern who joined my team, who did a degree in geology, and then I said, we only have HR opening in the branding side. And you know what? Why I took him in the branding side where HR has nothing to do with geology or whatnot? He had an extra passion. He showed me in part of his CV. He said, "Oh, I do some videos for my university, my magazine." Hey, how you did that? Oh, I've learned Joomla, I've learned Python. Hey, why don't you just come and help out? Then he said, "No, not in geology." And I kid you not, he came in here. We saved a lot in terms of agency fees because he created the visuals, the effects. The direction came from the team and I, but we saved a lot. And today, in a month or so, he's going to join us as a recruiter in the company. So don't be fixated in terms of, okay, I studied geology, but if the jobs are not there, if a company is offering you an internship, go try it out. If they believe in you, what you need is when you're in there, right, is your attitude that gets you higher on altitude. So that is some of my tips. Is like, things are going to get tough, but if you're fixated in just joining a certain part of a certain company, then it'll be tougher for you. That's just my personal opinion.
Right. Yeah, very good input, Noel. Thanks for that. We have another question here. It's a little bit controversial, so it's time to make it more interesting. We have Nur Aina who's asking, there might be employers right now who are taking advantage of the situation, and they may be hiring fewer people, but actually giving them more work because they know that people are desperate for jobs, right? So is there any way for students and fresh grads to kind of plan out or kind of filter out employers who are like this?
Maybe I'll just take a stab on that first, Jai. I think in Malaysia, our laws, our policies are very much employee-centric. So unlike like the other countries, right, which very much is based on the contractual agreement by the company and the candidate, here we have a lot of laws that prohibit you from doing that. In fact, like during the CMCO, the MCO period, there was some unscrupulous company wanted to say, well, because you're not working, you're not going to be paid. But no, the government intervened and whatnot. However, there are certain industries, like example, fact of the matter, the hotel industries or the tourism industry is very consumption driven. If they don't operate, how can your employer pay you? So then there is a definite reason why they have to do layoffs and whatnot. But I don't really think that this is an issue in Malaysia because of our government and how the employees are protected. And like even 3 years back, they've already implemented the EIS insurance where you pay a certain amount. So that's like a safety net as well in case you lose your employment. So while that this is a very fair question, I wouldn't want to like scare the graduates. Oh, this employer does this, so don't apply with them. I don't really think that's really a real concern, Bonnie. That's just my thoughts. What do you think, Bonnie?
Yes, Noel, I agree with you. To be honest, I think I fully understand why the person asked this question, because generally I'm sure they'll be wondering, oh, how do companies cut costs, hire less people and do more jobs? But as Noel said, our laws protect the employees very much here in Malaysia. And to be honest, I think I think one needs to strike a balance, really. And on the one hand, definitely employers are now tightening their belts. And it is not just new graduates. The currently employed, you've heard some have to take pay cuts, some have to be put on unpaid leave. And that is because it is to ensure that the corporations sustain. They can carry out and weather this difficult recession that's looming in. And so it does mean, to a certain extent, that we need to do things differently. So which means that if a company, for example, used to hire somebody to do the dispatch and someone to do to clean the canteen or something like that, perhaps now with the drop in deliveries, the dispatch guy would be doing the cleaning. So I would say it's not so much of employers looking to overwork their employees, but it is really how do we be more efficient and more effective than before, given that everyone is tightening their belts now. And I think that is a fair approach as an employer, because employees want to continue to be employed. You don't want to be laid off, but the companies have to keep paying salary. So it is really striking a balance sometimes. And I think when it comes to recession, I've gone through 2 recessions in the past, and it is difficult. I've seen, I was in the accounting line, so we were closing down companies, and I really seen how companies suffer, and they try so hard not to let their people go, but they just cannot sustain with the recession and with no business and unable to pay salaries and rents. So there are times when perhaps, I'm sure, you'll be asked to do something different from what you are trained to do or what you were doing before. But that means you should look at it from the bright side. You are learning a new skill. You are doing something different. After the MCO, after this lockdown, after this pandemic, you can say that, hey, I can do accounts and I can do a video. You're just broadening your skill set. So look at it from a positive perspective rather than being so wary. I think at the end of the day, you know yourself. If you are overworking, you will know when to stop. So the thing is, you need to check yourself. Are you going beyond and beyond what you can do? Or is this an opportunity to learn?
Jai, don't mind, I just want to add on what Bonnie has shared. And I think most employers or most companies in Malaysia, we are good corporate citizens. We find ways in which the last thing you want to do is take away take away a source of income for an employee. So like, as I said earlier, the crisis also gives us opportunity. Examples like, while you may think cutting costs in terms of getting rid of people, in terms of reducing your payroll, that's one way to go about. But there's also other avenues. With most of us now working from home, what it means to the company is that utilities will go down because there's lesser people in a certain part of the building. So there's some cost savings there as well. So a lot of which right now, like what Bonnie has shared, is not so much of cutting resources, but repurpose resources or redelegating the resource. Like the good example she shared in terms of, yeah, you don't have any more delivery. What are you going to do? Just sit down here, do nothing. So do something for the team and company, and that's how you also show value, and that's how we can also a win-win situation between the employer and the employees. Yeah.
good. Yeah, we have another question here, and this is actually a very broad question. I guess the average salaries across the board have fallen, although it's not official. I think because of this situation, I think the average salaries have not really fallen. But what I'm trying to say is that has this pandemic affected the starting pay for fresh grads? Are they expected to take a job, a starting salary for less money?
You want to go ahead and answer that first, Bonnie?
Okay, well, let me give it a shot. I think this recession is really just coming in and starting, and I don't think we have got a lot of stats that's telling us that salary has dropped in general. I think a lot of it is sort of gut feeling, and stories, sharings that we've heard from our clients, our business associates. We did hear that this year, because of companies being more cautious, there are probably promotions have been delayed. Pay rise had probably been lower than before. But I think some of these could be temporary measures for now, because really everyone is waiting to assess how the economic situation is going through. How long is this recession going to drag on? And not being too bullish in terms of sort of raising the pays and things like that. It makes sense. And I know I hear that has been happening even at the start of this year already. In February, people started thinking about things. But does this mean that this is going to permanently affect the pay scale? I think when it comes to pay scale, it's a lot about demand and supply, right, Noel? I mean, we are looking
Supply
at...
and demand.
Yeah, that's right. So are the jobs there? If the jobs are there and there's not enough people doing it, the pay is going to go up. It is economics, basically. So at this juncture, unfortunately, the demand is lesser than the supply, and so the pricing is very much inflexible. Yeah, but things may pick up. The economic situation may start to later on recover. Maybe there are certain areas that perhaps certain jobs may need a lot of people in a very short time, and that's where then the pay comes in. So I don't think it's a permanent, I don't think that the pay scale had been pushed down and then it's going to take maybe 5 years to come up again. My gut feel is it's currently temporary, but we are waiting to see, how things are. But of course, everyone is being very cautious. All companies and corporations are being very, very cautious in terms of managing fixed costs, and human resource is a fixed cost.
Yeah, on that note, right, while Bonnie has covered a very broad example, sharing what she sees from clients and whatnot, specifically on the question by the candidate, like for the banks, right, we're pretty much governed to say that, okay, this is the starting salary for fresh graduates for this kind of job. So we do have that benchmark, and that benchmark cannot be changed overnight because it will then affect the internal equity of the current people as well. So that one specifically on that. But what I can foresee, right? Like if you look at more advanced markets like places like Australia and all, and I think HR within Malaysia, it will soon pick up. There may be a rise in terms of job sharing, new fixed terms contract. People won't generally give up full-term employment anymore already. So that may be a change, because then the companies have that flexibility to then look at managing their manpower as well as their costs. And also gives the flexibility, like with some people now working from home, right? They can be on a job sharing initiatives and things like that. So again, here is not really widely used, but this will be some avenues that people coming out from the graduate markets, if it's offered to you, right, it's only because the company wants to manage the manpower as well as their costs. So this might be a coming future for us.
Okay. in very practical terms, can you each think of 3 things a student can do to plan for this new norm? 3 very practical things. Maybe we can go back to Bonnie.
Well, 3 things that a student can plan during this time. Definitely, I think one is that you should think about upskilling yourself in an area that you would not have normally explored, and digital would be one area for sure. The other thing is that I think being patient and really looking at how do you adapt to the current needs. For example, when we were sharing about what are the jobs in the market, what is your skill set, what are you trained to, do you take only jobs that are according to your course of study? I think being flexible is very important, and being flexible means that be open to try new things and be open to learn new things. I think a lot of graduate employing, it's not so much of how much you know, what you learn in university or when you graduated, but how fast can you pick things up? How fast can you learn something new? Because we see ourselves constantly learning new things every day, and the speed of learning has to be so fast. So the ability to adapt and learn things fast will definitely put you in a position. So being flexible and being adaptable to that. And I think the third point I would like to stress is that really don't lose hope. This is not all gloomy. Yeah, I think we've all come into this situation where it's never happened before. It's a global pandemic. Worldwide, everywhere had locked down for about 2 months. This is never before seen in this world, not in my lifetime anyway, and not even in my grandmother's lifetime. So I think it makes us think about how can we be different, how can we adapt, how can we have to wait it out as well. You have to be patient too. Don't think that this recession is going to be the worst recession, some people say, in the last sort of decade, or even in the last 75 years or something like that. It could be, but recessions does not mean that there's no jobs for everybody. For instance, I think many people do say that the job an accountant is recession proof. We do actually foresee some areas starting to pick up. I'm sure, Noel, in the banks as well, there's going to be a lot of people coming to the bank to say, can I please reschedule my loan? I can't seem to pay my debts in the old way as before. There's going to be a lot of different kind of work that will come about through this period. So restructuring, debt scheduling, those will be the areas that be open to what the needs of the markets are, and just keep your senses and your feelers out.
Yeah.
Yes. Noel?
So I think Bonnie has taken most of my points, but I do have some. So I earlier want to further emphasize that network. You really have to network. It's not so much of just sending an e-application and just wait. It doesn't happen that way. Previously you can go for career fairs or whatnot and all. Now try to get on as much of like this kind of webinars. Get to know people, ask the right question, make yourself visible. Be visible, because otherwise you'll just blend in with the crowd. What's different from you from another graduate? Network and be visible. The other thing that I want to stress out is this. You may find yourself in a predicament where you have a lot of free time right now between applying for jobs and getting the job. Sometimes I always ask my candidates, right, especially the young talents is coming into the market. So what did you do with your time, extra time? And I always try to hear in terms of, if those are the ones that spend time in terms of building their skills, building their capabilities, these are what we then tell about an attitude of a person. Because once you come in, right, you are treated equal to another graduate already. It's about the attitude. And sometimes, like when we hire interns, right, rightfully you can go back at 5:45. And then sometimes I like to do this. At 5:30, I'll say, hey, I got this thing. Can you help me do it? Some may say, oh, I only got 15 minutes to do it. Some may just get the job done. And these are the things that you make as a decision as an employee, as an intern. And while you contractually, yes, you're an intern, you only work till 5:45. But if you can spend that 1 hour or so helping out the manager or whatnot, that tells about the value you bring to the company. And that will get then, hopefully, when the permanent employment comes about, you will be the first to be thought of because you already learned that skill. And the last but not least, I want to share that something that is uniquely different about RHB is that we have we've changed our workforce in terms of running things agile, or agile's way of working. And you may think that this agile is probably only for digital and tech. To share with you, even at HR, we have run our operations on an agile way of environment where we kind of took away our titles. In fact, the only reason why I put my title as VP because within an agile environment, I'm a squad lead, so I'm probably like in the army. So what difference about this agile is that every day, right, I have stand-up meetings with my staff every day. And then like any issues, like example, right, they will put my name on the board. Noel did not respond to this email in 2 days, so it's a bottleneck. So everything is visible. And what I want to share is that this may be some of the culture that we as an organization need to adapt as well, because the graduates that's coming into the market, they are very outspoken, they want things fast. So this is one of the changes that we are doing as well within the company. So yeah, so that is my thoughts in terms of the 3 things, and also what we're doing differently in RHB in terms of catering to the new workforce.
Okay, so before we wrap this up, I'm going to send everyone 2 links. The first link is to the Malaysia's 100 Leading Graduate Employer Survey. Students, please do the survey. Choose your favorite employers. Tell us what you want in a job. And the second link is for your feedback for this session today. Tell us whether you liked it, were there things that we can improve, what kind of topics would you want us to cover the next time. So Bonnie, Noel, we have, I guess, 10 minutes left. Do you have any parting words for our students today? Maybe let's start with Bonnie.
Well, I think one of the things that really has come to me during this period is that being adaptable is so important, and learning new things quickly is so important. Just yesterday, I've learned a new skill, and that is to cut my husband's and my son's hair. So this MCO has caused a lot of men to look like cavemen. And yeah, it came to a point that I had to go online, Google how to cut a man's hair, and I did it. Although it took me 5 times as long as a normal hairdresser would, but there you go. So just really keep learning. There's so many skills out there that you never think that you need it, but actually you do when the time comes.
Yeah. Why I was laughing out loud, Bonnie, is because this hair is styled by my wife. and in terms of some parting words, right? I just want to share is that this has not been the first viral outbreak. We had the H1N1, we had the SARS, and then we also had the global financial crisis happen in the circle of 2008. So this, you may think that, oh, it's already so hard for me to get a job. Now things are gloomier. What I want to share with you is everyone is different. You bring something to the table. The question is, what are you going to bring to this table? I'll leave that with that parting words. Pick up a new skill and be adaptable, be visible. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Bonnie. Once again, thank you, Noel from RHB. It was a pleasure having you here. Can we get the students to clap? Can we see some claps? If you enjoyed the session, if you learned something new, we will get more. Yes, we have raised hands as well. We will have more sessions like this. Hopefully, we will get Bonnie and Noel back again very soon. Just remember to vote for the Malaysia's 100 Leading Graduate Employers. The link is in the chat. And also give us your feedback on the session. Bonnie, Noel, pleasure having you. I hope this was fun. and
Thank you.
we will have you on again soon, I hope. Thank you very much, and stay safe, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you for everything.
Thank you, and stay safe, everyone. This has been a pleasure. Bye, and take care.
Been a pleasure. Bye. Take care.